Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Okay, so macam biasa, test mic. Test. Dengar ke tak? So far macam dengar, okay kot. Okay, so let us start then. So this is the last lecture for trigonometric functions. So basically once we finish with trigonometric function, we are going to proceed with limits and continuity, chapter 8, and then we will proceed with chapter 9, which is differentiation, and then chapter 10, application of differentiation. Okay. Oops, okay, never mind. Right, so we are at 7.3, solution of trigonometric equations. Okay, so the linear outcome for today, you should be able to express a sine theta plus minus with b cos theta equal to c in the form of as either as sine theta plus minus alpha or as cos theta minus plus alpha. And then you should be able to solve a sine theta plus minus with b cos theta equal to c by using the r cos or r sine. So we are going to change it into r cos or r sine first, and then we're going to solve the a sine theta plus minus with b cos theta. And then we are going to determine the maximum and minimum value of trigonometric expression in the form of a sine theta plus minus with b cos theta equal to c. The maximum and the minimum meaning that the amplitude, sebab dia kan macam wave. So we want to know what is the highest and the lowest value. Gelap sangat lah rasanya. Nak hujan ke? Okay, so now solving a sine theta plus minus with b cos theta equal to c. Okay, so what do you need to do? The first step is that you have to use the compound angle. So from r cos theta minus with alpha, you are going to use the compound angle to change the left hand side to become r cos theta cos alpha plus r sin theta sin alpha. And then this is a cos theta plus with b sin theta. Okay, so after that, what do? Is that we are equating the coefficient. So what does equating the coefficient means? On the right hand side, we have cos theta. So we are going to compare with cos theta on the left. So we are going to see that we have r cos alpha equal to A. And then you compare for the sine theta and the sine theta, then you can see that r sine alpha is equal to B. So we are going to get two equations when we compare the coefficient for the cos theta as well as the sine theta. So first equation, second equation, of course you have to solve them simultaneously. But since this one is actually involving a trigonometric function, so we don't simply use the substitution part. So we actually have one more. So you can actually do the square because we can use the Pythagorean identity. So I'll show you later on. So just know that in order to solve them simultaneously, we have to square them. So kena take the first equation square plus with the second equation square. You have to square them. Okay, so by doing the square, you should be able to get the value for r, where r is equal to the square root of a square plus with b square. And then in order to find out the alpha, we are going to obtain the tangent. So tangent actually correspond to either sine or sine over cos. So it can be either the first equation over the second equation, or it can be the second equation over the first equation. That totally depends on who has the sine and who has the cos. So we need to obtain a tangent. So you just need to make sure you do sine over cos. So it can be first over 2 or 2 over 1. So normally we have second equation over the first equation. So this is definitely because I have sine for my second equation and I have cos for my first equation. So second over 1. So I'm going to get tangent alpha is equal to b over a. So in order to get the alpha, I simply do the arctangent for them, and that is the value for my alpha. And then don't forget you have to write down your final answer. So a cos theta plus with b sin theta is actually equal to r cos theta minus with alpha. So we simply substitute what is the value for r and what is the value for alpha. So that one will become our final answer. Okay, so firstly from the question, a cos theta plus with b sin theta, just write down either you want to use r cos or r sin. That normally for me, that totally depends on the first function. If I see a cos, I'm using r cos. If the first one is a sine, I'm using r sin. So that totally work for me. And then you need to make sure you use the compound angle for the r cos or r sine, and then make sure to compare the coefficient, equating the coefficient together, solve them simultaneously, and then don't forget to write down your final answer. Okay, so one thing that you should be noted, if the question didn't tell you either to use r cos or r sine and you have to choose on your own, then if the question has something with a cos theta, so they start with the cos theta first. So a cos theta plus or minus with b sin theta, then you should use r cos. That one will be easier when you want to do equating coefficient. Dia tak ada lah semestinya yang ini saja, but I do find it is much more easier if we use cos straight away because we can directly compare them. So if you see a cos over here, just make sure to use a cos. But for the cos, you need to make sure you are using a different sign. So if this is a plus, then this is a minus. If this is a minus, that is a plus. So we must make sure we change the sign as well. Okay. And if let's say they again didn't tell you what to use, either r cos or r sine, but the question give you with something with sine plus with cos or sine minus with cos, then you can use r sine. Okay, so if we see sine over here, then we normally use a sine for r sine. And then for the sine, you need to keep the sign. So if we have a plus, then they will become a plus as well. So if we have sine theta plus with cos theta, this one will become theta plus alpha. If we have sine theta minus with cos theta, then this one will become theta minus alpha. So you simply keep the sign. So if you have a cos, use r cos. If you see the cos first, then use r cos. If you see the sine first, use r sine. If the question didn't tell us what to use, of course, biasanya dia akan bagi tahu lah dia nak r cos ataupun r sine. Tapi kalau dia tak bagi tahu, kita kena guessing. Dan maksudnya biasanya kita akan start dengan function yang kita nampak dululah, cos ataupun sine. Okay, so now example 1, express 2 cos theta plus with 3 sin theta in the form of r cos theta minus alpha, where r is greater than 0 and alpha is an acute angle between 0 and 90 degree. Okay, so now do see the a cos theta plus with b sin theta. Okay, so you see a cos over here, right? So that's the reason why they want you to write them down in the form of r cos. So this is cos, this is also cos. For cos, we need to use a different sign. So that is why this is a plus, meanwhile this is a minus. So that is normally the basic one. Kalau dia tak bagi benda ni lah, macam mana kita nak guess. Okay, so now what do? We need to write them down first. So r cos theta minus alpha is equal to 2 cos theta plus with 3 sin theta. And then we have to use the compound angle for the right hand side, the term with the r. So we need to use the compound angle for them. What is the compound angle involving a minus with b? So cos A minus B is actually equal to cos A cos B plus sin A sin B. So we are going to use this compound angle. We just need to multiply them with R. Okay, so expanding them, or using the compound angle, you should be able to get 2 cos theta plus with 3 sin theta equal to r cos theta cos alpha plus r sin theta sin alpha. And then you need to use equating coefficient. Okay, so check the coefficient on the left hand side. We have a cos theta over here. Okay, so compare with cos theta over here. Okay, so what do you see? This is 2. This is r cos alpha. Therefore, r cos alpha is equal to 2. So simply equate the coefficient. And then sin theta. Okay, so this is sin theta. If you have highlight, better to use highlight. Dia lebih senang nak nampak lah juga kalau kita pakai highlight sebenarnya. Okay, so sin theta and then highlight another one sin theta. And then you should be able to see this is r sin alpha equal to 3. Okay, so we do have the first equation and the second equation. Therefore, we need to solve them simultaneously. So, untuk trigonometric function, kita tak buat yang macam elimination tu . Okay, so in order to find out what is the value for r, I'm gonna square them. Okay, so I'm gonna do the first equation square plus with the second equation square. So r is equal to the square root of 2 square plus with 3 square. Okay, just in case you want to see the longer version. Okay, so 1 square plus with 2 square. Therefore, they will become r square cos square alpha plus r square sin square alpha. And this is equal to 2 square plus with 3 square. So this is r square equal to 2 square plus with 3 square. And then in order to find out the value for r, we simply do the square root for them. Oh, by the way, where did the cos square and sin square go? That is actually because of the identity. Okay, let me erase that part. And because otherwise, some of you might get confused. Where did it go? So if I factorize the r square, I have cos square alpha plus sin square alpha equal to 2 square plus with 3 square. So this one is actually a Pythagorean identity where they are actually equal to 1. So r square will be equal to 2 square plus with 3 square. So that is how you get r equal to the square root of 2 square plus with 3 square. So when we square them, we should be able to get some Pythagorean identity. Okay, so that is for r. R is simply equal to the square root of 13. Okay, so how are we going to get alpha? Because basically we simply write them down in the form of r cos theta minus alpha. Therefore, we need to find out what is the r and what is the alpha. I already know what is the value for the r. So now let's find out what is the value for the alpha. Okay, so they should be sine over cos. So either the second over the 1 or 1 over the second. The first over the second or second over the first. But since I have a sine for my second equation, therefore they should be the second equation over with the first equation. Okay, so tangent alpha will be equal to 3 over 2. So if you are taking arctangent, so arctangent will be alpha. Alpha is equal to 56.3 degree. And then don't forget you have to write down your final answer. So 2 cos theta plus with 3 sin theta is equal to the square root of 13 cos theta minus with 56.3. Therefore, you have 4 steps. Firstly, you need to use the compound angle. Second, make sure you equate the coefficient and then solve them simultaneously. To solve them simultaneously, make sure not to use the substitution method or elimination method. Better to use the first equation plus with the second equation and then simply do sine over cos to get the other one. Okay, so that is for the third step. The fourth step, don't forget you need to write down your conclusion. So altogether we have 4 steps. Okay, next. Express 4 sine 2 theta minus 3 cos 2 theta in the form of r sine 2 theta minus alpha, where r is greater than 0, so that means r should be positive. And then alpha in between 0 and 90 degree, where it does mean that alpha need to be an acute angle. Okay, so now, firstly, we need to write down this one equal to this. Okay, so 4 sine 2 theta minus 3 cos 2 theta is equal to r sine 2 theta minus with alpha. And then we are going to use the compound angle on the right hand side. So what formula do you see over here? So this is 2 theta minus with alpha. So this is sine A minus with B. So go back to the formula, check the compound angle having something with sine A minus B. Okay, so sine A minus B is equal to sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. Okay, so use that formula, substitute them. So they will become r sine 2 theta cos alpha minus r cos 2 theta sine alpha. Okay, so that is the first step. We already used the compound angle on the right hand side. Left hand side, you just need to copy them down. The right hand side, you need to use the compound angle. And then equate the coefficient. So compare. The left hand side, I do see something with a sine. So sine 2 theta. So do check on the right hand side where is the sine 2 theta. So this is sine 2 theta. So if you highlight them, you should be able to see that the 4 is equal to r cos alpha. So r cos alpha is equal to 4. And that is the first equation. And then you equate for cos 2 theta. So this is cos 2 theta, cos 2 theta. Make sure you use your highlight if you couldn't see them very well. So this is 3. This is r sine alpha. Okay, therefore r sine alpha is equal to 3. So if you choose the r sine or r cos carefully, they should have the same sign over here. If you choose them very carefully, they should have the same sign. But what if they don't have the same sign? Never mind, you just keep the sign. Maksudnya ambil je lah sign tu, letaklah satu simbol dia sebelah kiri positif ke kanan negatif ke. You just need to write down the sign together. Okay, so now r sine alpha is equal to 3. So the first equation, r cos alpha equal to 4, r sine alpha equal to 3, and then we need to solve them simultaneously. So take the first equation, square plus with the second equation, you square them, and then you should be able to see that r is equal to the square root of 4 square plus with 3 square. Therefore, r is simply equal to 5. So that is the value for r. So now you can find out the value for alpha. So sine over cos. So second equation over with the first equation. So tangent alpha is simply equal to 3 over 4. So alpha is equal to the arctangent of 3 over 4. So alpha will be equal to 36.87 degree. And then do make sure to write down the final answer for them. So 4 sine 2 theta minus 3 cos 2 theta is actually equal to 5. 2 theta minus 36.87. So that is the first part of the example 2. Example 2, the question is a bit long, so I simply separate them into two parts, where the first part I simply find out what is r sine 2 theta minus with alpha, and for the second part we are going to solve to find out what is the value for theta. Okay, so now are you guys doing good so far? Okay ke so far? Semua orang okay ke? Okay, alright, good then. Tak lah, sebab macam takut dia nampak macam complicated je. Okay. Right. So, let us continue, okay? So now, hence solve the equation. Okay, so we got 4 sine 2 theta minus 3 cos 2 theta equal to 3 for theta in between 0 and 360. Okay, so basically, if we have a mixture between the sine and the cos, of course, we cannot directly solve them. So that's the reason why for the first part, we simply write them down in the form of other sign. So ini adalah sebab lah kenapa kita kena ubah kepada other cos ataupun other sign. So basically, if we want to solve a mixture between the sine and cos, but we cannot change them into a quadratic form, therefore we need to use either t substitution or r cos and r sine. Okay, so now let me write down again what is 4 sine 2 theta minus 3 cos 2 theta is. Okay, so 4 sine 2 theta minus 3 cos 2 theta equal to 3. And then from the answer previously in part 1, I know that 4 sine 2 theta minus 3 cos 2 theta is simply equal to 5 sine 2 theta minus 36.87 degree. Okay, so now we need to make sine as the subject. So I have to get rid of the 5. So I'm going to bring it to the right hand side. So sine of 2 theta minus 36.87 degree is simply equal to 3 over 5. Okay, so this is simply a linear trigonometric equation. So we can actually solve them. So please find out what is the principal angle. Firstly, we need to find out the basic angle or principal angle. Basic angle, principal angle. Check the quadrant. Which quadrant will give us a positive answer because we do have a positive on the right hand side. And then the third one, we have to check the range as well because we have some problem over here. For the question, they give us theta, but over here we have 2 theta minus 36.87. Therefore, we need to check for the range as well. Okay, so let us go one by one. So firstly, basic angle. Okay, so basic angle, I'm using alpha. So alpha is equal to 36.87. So let me check that. Okay, so that is good. Okay, so this is the basic angle. The first step, basic angle. So alpha is equal to 36.87. And then for the second step, we have to check or verify where is the quadrant that will give us a positive over 5. Okay, so just in case you don't remember ASTC, so we need to get a positive for the sign. So either the first or the second one. So for the first equation, so this is the first step. This is the second step. Okay, so theta is equal to alpha if they are in the first quadrant. In the second quadrant, they will be 180 minus with alpha because this is degree, right? So 180 minus alpha, if you have radian, they should be a pi. Okay, so that is the second step. The third step, we have to check the range because I need to make sure I'm using everything inside of the range. Okay, so what do we know about theta? Theta is in between 0 and 360. So now I'm having 2 theta minus 36.87. Therefore, for 0 and 360, I'm going to times them by 2. And then I will minus with 36.87. So that I will have the same thing over here. So this is 2 theta minus 36.87. This is also 2 theta minus 36.87. Okay, so that is how we modify the range. So now I need to make sure my answer, it can go as far as 687. 83. Sebut pun salah. 683.13. Nampak je nombor tu, tak tahu. 3 baca 7. Okay, so now, what do we do? Okay, so 2 theta minus 36.87 is equal to, okay, so we're going to write down the first answer where we have our alpha straight away. So this is alpha, the first quadrant, and the first rotation, alpha. So 36.87, and then we are going to get our answer from the second quadrant. So this is the second quadrant where we have 180 minus with alpha. And then we have to proceed to another solution because we need to go as far as 600. So take the first value over here, you plus with 360. So 360 plus 36.87, that is because we have another rotation for them. That is actually the second rotation. And then you take this value over here, you plus another 360 for them as well. Okay, so they will become 360 plus 180 minus 36.87. And then you simplify them. Okay, so that means 2 theta will become 73.74, 180, 433.74, or 540. So make sure you have theta as the subject. So theta will become 36.87, 90 degree, 216.87, or 270. Okay, so again, I repeat, how to solve the linear trigonometric equation? You need to get what is the basic angle, check the quadrant, and then make sure to check the range as well. So before this, we don't have any problem with the range, but today we got some problem with the range because this is simply not sine theta. This is not a simple sine theta, but they do have something inside here. We have 2 theta minus 36.87. Therefore, we should modify our range as well. Okay, so find out the basic angle, check the quadrant, and then make sure you modify the range as well. Because this is not sine theta, so modify the range. You should be able to see that you have to go up until the second rotation. So simply find out the first value for the first rotation, the first quadrant, the second quadrant first, and then you simply add 360 to get the second rotation. If let's say you do have something that is very negative, then you need to minus 360. So we should either plus 360 or minus with 360 to get the other rotation. Okay, next. Maximum and minimum value for a sine theta plus minus with b cos theta. So if we have a mixture between the sine and the cos, how can we get the maximum or minimum values for them? Okay, so maximum and minimum value, that is actually the amplitude. Sebab dia macam wave kan. So we want to know the highest and the lowest point. Okay, so if let's say you are using as sine theta plus minus with alpha, then since sine theta is in between -1 and 1, then you should be able to see that the maximum value is actually when sine theta is equal to 1. So if you sketch your graph for the sine, then sine of theta is equal to 1 when the theta is 90 degree. The minimum value is when sine theta equal to -1, and that is when the theta is 270. If we have r cos theta minus or plus alpha, so basically if you draw the graph for cos theta, something like this. Okay, so how to get the maximum value? So maximum value is whenever theta is equal to 0 or 360, so at the first or the last of the rotation. So that is when cos theta equal to 1. In order to get the minimum value, so yang paling rendah tu, so that is when the theta is 180. So this is 1 over here, the below is -1. So this is 180, this is 360, so that is 0. Okay, so now Let us do example 3 and example 4. Okay, example 3, express 3 sine theta minus 4 cos theta in the form of r sine theta minus alpha, where r is greater than 0 and alpha is in between 0 and 90 degree. Okay, so basically we just need to find out r and alpha first. Sebab ini part 1 r and alpha. Okay, so we need to write them down. So 3 sine theta minus 4 cos theta equal to r sine theta minus with alpha. And then we are going to use the compound angle for r sine theta minus alpha. So what is the formula for sine A minus P? So they will become sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. Okay, so sine A minus B, sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. And then of course you need to times them with R. So they will become R sine theta cos alpha minus R cos theta sine alpha. And then use your highlight the sine theta over here. So we can see that T is equal to R cos alpha. And then take another highlight. Okay, so this is cos theta. This is cos theta. So that means R sine alpha is equal to 4. Okay, so we are going to get two equations then. R cos alpha is equal to 3. Another one is R sine alpha is equal to 4. So that is the first equation as well as the second equation. And then we need to solve them simultaneously. Okay, so again, this is trigonometric function. So to solve them simultaneously, normally we are going to do the first equation square plus with the second equation square. And then you simply use the identity and then simplify them. Then r is equal to the square root of 3 square plus with 4 square. Then you can say that r is equal to 5. So that is the value of r. And then we need to find out the alpha. So check where is sine. So sine is in the second equation. So it should be the second over with the first. So 2 over 1. Tangent alpha is equal to 4 over 3. So by using the arctangent for them, alpha is simply equal to 53.1. And then you need to write down your final answer. So what is the final answer? So 3 sine theta minus with 4 cos theta is equal to 5 sine theta minus 53.1. So that is your final answer. Okay, part 2. Hence, state the maximum and minimum value of 3 sine theta minus 4 cos theta and find the values of theta, where theta is in between 0 and 360, for which the expression has maximum and minimum values. Okay, so now, what do we know? We know that sine theta is in between -1 and 1, and previously we have changed this 3 sine theta minus 4 cos theta into 5 sine theta minus 53.1 degree. Therefore, we can say that 5 sine theta minus 53.1 is in between -5 and 5. So you simply take the sine, you time them by 5. Kenapa? Sebab nak bagi sama dengan the previous part. Previous part kan kita dah cari nilai dia. So they are 5 sine theta minus 53.1. So I want to get the 5 as well. So they should be 5 sine theta minus 53.1, and they should be in between negative 5 and 5. So what does it mean is that the maximum value now is 5, and it occur when sine of theta minus 53.1 equal to 1. So in order to get the 5, so that means sine theta need to be equal to 1. So do you guys remember how to get a 1 for the sine? So this is 90 degree, right? So we are going to compare them with sine 90 degree. So theta minus 53.1 is equal to 90. So that means theta is equal to 143.1. So that is the maximum value. Okay, so for the minimum is negative 5. It occurs when sine theta minus 53 equal to negative 1. Okay, so if you refer to the graph for the sine, in order to get negative 1, then the value for theta will be 270. So this is sine of 270. So when you compare them, then theta minus 53.1 is equal to 270. So that means theta is equal to 323.1 degree. Okay, so now the last question for today. Show that 1 over 3 plus sec 3 is less than or equal to 1 over 3 plus sine theta minus 2 cos theta less than or equal to 1 over 3 minus square root of 5. Okay, so what do we need to do? Okay, so I do see a mixture between the sine and the cos where we have sine theta minus with 2 cos theta. So I'm gonna change this to become as sine. Okay, so why do I change it to become other sine or other cos? That is because if I'm using other sine or other cos, I know for sure what is the maximum and the minimum value, because I know for sine theta is in between negative 1 and 1, cos of theta also in between negative 1 and 1. So if I have a mixture between the sine and the cos, we are going to change them to become other sine or other cos. Okay, so I do see sine first over here. So I'm using other sine. Okay, so sine theta minus with 2 cos theta is equal to r sine theta minus with alpha. And then you use the compound angle on the right hand side over here. So sine theta minus with 2 cos theta is equal to r sine theta cos alpha minus r cos theta sine alpha. And then what you need to do is that you need to equate the coefficient. Okay, so this is sine theta, this is also sine theta. So r cos alpha is equal to 1, and then this is cos theta, cos theta. So r sine alpha is equal to 2. So get the two equation out, and then you have to solve them simultaneously. So you simply do the first equation square plus with the second equation square. Okay, so r is equal to the square root of 1 square plus with 2 square. So r will be equal to the square root of 5. Okay, so now I didn't find out what is the value for alpha because that doesn't really matter. Alpha won't affect the maximum and minimum value. But if you want to, you can also find out what is the value for alpha. So for me, I just find out the value for r. Okay, so sine theta minus with 2 cos theta is equal to square root of 5 sine theta minus with alpha. Okay, so now I will start from the sine and then try to get this term over here. Okay, let's see how can we do that. Okay, so since sine theta minus with alpha is in between negative 1 and 1, so that is the basic thing. Sine is actually in between negative 1 and 1. But If we want to get set of 5, sine of theta minus with alpha, therefore everything need to be multiplied with square root of 5. So negative set of 5 is less than or equal to set 5, sine theta minus with alpha less than or equal to 1, also multiplied with set 5. So you are going to get set 5. Okay, and then this one is actually sine theta minus with 2 cos theta. So I can replace this with sine theta minus with 2 cos theta. If you refer to the previous one, we actually have 1 over 3, right? 3 plus the sine minus with the cos. So I'm trying to get a 3 over here. So to get the 3, we have to add 3. So nak dapatkan 3 kat situ, kita tambahlah semua dengan 3. Okay, so simply adding 3 to everything. Therefore, we have 3 minus set of 5 less than or equal to 3 plus blah 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 less than or equal to 3 plus square root of 5. And then we need to make sure we have 1 over them. So this one is by using, I think when we learn chapter 1, I think we do learn chapter 1 or chapter 2, can't remember. Something like A, B, C. Oh, chapter 2 then inequalities. When we learn inequalities, if let's say A and B are positive, A, B and C are positive, then if you are doing 1 over, then you should flip the sign. So 1 over A, 1 over B, 1 over C. But everything should be positive, okay, for this one. Okay, so now flip them. So they will become 1 over 3 minus square root of 5, 1 over 3 plus sine theta minus 2 cos theta, 1 over 3 plus square root of 5. But of course, this one doesn't make any sense. Dia tak boleh macam tu. Dia kena macam tu. Simbol dia kena ke sana. So we cannot have this kind of symbol. So I have to rewrite them in this form. So 1 over 3 plus square root of 5 less than or equal to 1 over 3 plus sine theta minus 2 cos theta less than or equal to 1 over 3 minus square root of 5. So that is what we want to prove. So proven, done. So siaplah soalan ini. So we just need to modify until we get whatever we want to prove. Okay, so I think that's all for today. So I'll see you guys later. So kejap lagi kita jumpa dekat Google Meet. So I'll give you the link later. Alright, so bye everyone. Have a nice day. See you later.